Hi, this is Jody Morrow, and I'm going to show you how to make this framed chalkboard card. I recently found this chalkboard paint by Martha Stewart at Michael's, and I thought it would be really cool on paper. The directions stated to apply 2 coats, but I went ahead and did 3. This is the first of the 3, and just apply a very light coat and dry. I did discover in using it that if you use too much, it starts to get kind of goopy and doesn't look as well at the end. Now I'm working on my second coat here, just a really thin, even coat. And then to speed the process along, I am heating it with my heat gun to dry it. Okay, and now I'll start on the third coat. And I found that this just kind of gave it the really nice, deep, dark black color. And finally, I will heat it one last time. Because the paint, even when dry, leaves the surface a little bit tacky, I used my embossing buddy. And then I'm stamping a sentiment from Susie Plantamira's new line, Sunny Day Doodles, and the stamp set is Celebrate Life. I knock off the excess embossing powder with something heavy like the end of my paper piercer because I find that it gets everything off of there. Now I'm just heating and you can see it getting glossy as it goes. I had one little speck of embossing powder, and what I do is I use the tip of my piercing tool to kind of get it off. So then I'm trying to brush off all of the powder and I think, hey, I kind of like it on there. So I added more. It really looks like a chalkboard with chalk dust on it. Now I'm stamping 4 different pieces of the chalkboard frame builder with the Western background stamp set. It's a really cool wood plank and I like it a lot for these dies. The last 2 pieces I'll stamp at the same time just to save time. Okay, now I'm just kind of trying it on for size, making sure that my sentiment is going to be completely framed with my pieces. And sure enough it is. So I'm going to just use a pencil to just draw some rough lines in, showing me where the perimeter of the frame is. That'll help me trim my sentiment down so that I can place it behind the frame once it's complete. Using the pencil lines as a guide, I'm just going to trim off the excess cardstock. Now I'll build my frame, and what I do is I build the frame upside down. So I'll get 2 pieces, put the mitered corners in place, and then I use a small red line adhesive dot for it. You could use any small piece of adhesive. I find this to be the easiest way to do it. Okay, flip it over, it looks good. So now I'm going to add adhesive all the way around all of the edges, and that way I'll be able to get my sentiment in there. Just making sure one last time that it'll fit without anything sticking out. Now I'll go ahead and remove all of the liners from all the adhesives that I used. And I use a paper piercer because I don't like to fiddle with them with my nails. Okay, and then we'll put it in place over the sentiment. And now our sentiment is done. Now I'm using a piece from the Take Note stamp set by Lena Lamb, and I'm going to stamp it on the 3x4 notepad. And I'm stamping it in blue raspberry ink. Now I'm just going to start messing with my card elements, figuring out exactly what I want, where I want it. I kind of like the boy meets girl dynamics for this card. And I'm going to put it only along the top of the notepad die. The easiest way to adhere that particular die cut is with the best glue ever. So I'm just putting a tiny bit. The worst thing is to put too much glue and have glue gushing out, because then it dries and it's shiny on your card, and that's not good. Just kind of pressing it into place. And once again, playing with my elements, I'm trying to figure out if I need anything else, and I've decided I do. So I'm going to use the large scale backgrounds with Sweet Tooth pigment ink. And right before I was about to stamp it, I saw that one of the dots wasn't inked quite right, so I went ahead and added a little more ink. And if you notice, I center the dots left to right as much as possible so that they're equal on both sides. Just gonna stamp one more row. And now I'm removing the adhesive from the Notepad die cut, putting it in place. And I will go ahead and pop up the sentiment panel using the red line booster dots. Those are my favorite. Once again, I use a paper piercer to remove the liners. You just find the space between the liner and the adhesive. It clings but doesn't stick, but sometimes they're a little tricky to remove, so just have to get the technique down and then it's easy. All right, finally I'm gonna adhere it on there and use my bone folder for one more quick score. Here's another look at it up close. You can see the cool chalky residue, which I think makes it look really realistic. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll visit me at confessionsofaribbonaddict.com.